How are you? How are you doing? Before this year, when we met, it was often me asking you this question first. This past year, there's been a role reversal. When you've seen me or any of us clergy, it was you, first checking in and asking, how are you doing? My hair is much grayer since last Rosh HaShanah. This has been a year unlike any I have ever experienced, filled with devastating events for the Jewish community, with the murderous attack on Israel on October 7th, the war with Hamas in Gaza, the rapid rise of anti-Semitism, campus protests, the unconscionable year-long hostage catastrophe, the conflict in the north of Israel, and just this week, Iran's missile attack. I know all of us have been processing what has occurred and have responded in myriad ways. These 10 days from Rosh HaShanah to Yom Kippur are known to most of us as the High Holy Days. In Hebrew, they're called the Yamim Noraim. Yamim means days, and Noraim can be translated as fear, and Noraim can also be translated as awe. We have begun the days of fear, the days of awe. The word Noraim is found throughout the Hebrew Bible in different variations. One of the variations, Le Yirah, is in a remarkable Torah verse that states, "And now, Israel, what does Adonai your God ask of you? Only this, Le Yirah, Adonai your God." Wait, God wants only this? But what is this? Are we to fear God or be in awe of God, or both? This past year, I've seen what it has been like to experience both fear and awe. Fear in response to what happened on October 7th and what's been occurring in our nation and around the world to Jews, and awe as I have also experienced gathering together and finding strength in connecting with each other and our Jewish tradition. In February, Rabbi Buchdahl welcomed Deborah Lipstadt onto our bima. Dr. Lipstadt is the first ever U.S. envoy with the responsibility of combating anti-Semitism. She tells a story from when she was a professor. She says, "One of my college students, after an attack on Jews, began wearing a kippah on campus. He told me, 'This is my response to those who hate us. I'm not frightened.' She said, 'I admired his chutzpah and refusal to cower in the face of threats, but my heart broke because his motivation to identify as a Jew was prompted by Jew haters. He had ceded to them power over his identity.'" I shared Dr. Lipstadt's concern about linking our Jewish identity to hateful acts against us. I also know, in the wake of October 7th, that so many of our reactions were motivated by feelings of fear. We stood up in solidarity, defiant, and said, "I am Jewish and proud." We buoyed each other. You told me of how you responded in this way when we asked each other, "How are you doing?" After the Hamas strike, our member, 18-year-old Harrison Geller, drafted a letter to the head of his school. More than 200 fellow students signed it in one day. Soon after, with the support of school leadership, Harrison and a small group of students held a vigil on campus, supporting the Jewish community and denouncing anti-Semitism. I've heard stories about how you've decided to wear a Star of David. Many of you purchased your first Jewish necklace alongside your child so that everyone in the family had one. You described to me your worry about wearing a Jewish star in public. Still, time and time again, you decided to address that fear and you wore your necklaces out in our world. It was your actions that inspired our Central Synagogue High Holy Day card to our community. You have told me how you've been standing up for the Jewish people in your friends' circles, on social media, at your alma maters, at your children's schools. I've seen so many of you at rallies for Israel or for the hostages and against anti-Semitism. On shortest notice, 5 central buses traveled and joined over 290,000 people to march on Washington in November. This past year, Central members traveled to Israel on solidarity missions, showing up to support our sisters and brothers there. As a Central community, we supported more than 20 organizations and communities in Israel with the help of our emergency fund. In light of the crisis, the Jewish community at large, through Jewish federations across the U.S., raised more than $850 million. Despite our fear, we have not run from each other, we have run towards each other, as if we were each other's first responders. With all these reactions linked to our feelings of fear, defiance, and solidarity, I found myself reflecting on Dr. Lipstadt's experience with her student, who began wearing a kippah after an attack on Jews. She did not want his Jewishness to be correlated to the negative, the violence against, and the hatred toward our people. And after everything that we have gone through this year, I do not want our identity to be tied to the dread we witnessed. Our core Jewish identity should be connected to the deepest good and the wisdom and the rituals within our tradition, the awe within Judaism. Where negativity over time has the possibility of withdrawing and depleting us, the awesome within Judaism can strengthen and support us through the most difficult and darkest of times to eventual brighter days. In his book, Awe, psychologist Dacher Keltner defines awe as something vast that transcends your current understanding of the world. According to his research, much of what we have experienced this past year, being in collective gatherings, be they services and rallies, and being witness to each other's courage, strength, and kindness, are manifestations of awe. When we've asked each other, "How are you doing?" I've heard you describing the awe you have experienced, your transcendent moments. For example, so many of you have told me how powerful it has been to join together in community. I've seen it myself. I'm seeing it today. Attendance is up. Each Shabbat evening, the sanctuary is packed, overflowing into the balcony. I've never seen so many people week after week. Our live stream has tens of thousands joining us for each service from around the block and across the globe. More than ever, this community is embracing and lifting each other up. A few weeks ago, on a regular Shabbat evening, the congregation erupted in joy as a Central member for the past 56 years came to services in celebration of his 100th birthday. Way to go, Murray. Tell us your secrets. We have been elevated by those of us who are becoming bar and bat mitzvah, couples about to be married, and families giving Hebrew names to their infants. I know we especially love the Lion King baby blessing moment. We are supporting and cheering each other as if other people's simchas, other people's celebrations, are ours, which of course, in part, they are. Am Yisrael Chai, the people of Israel live. We have found awe in Judaism's mission to bring more blessing into this world. This year at Central, a dedicated group of 25 members are helping a refugee family from Venezuela. This family was recently granted entrance into the U.S. by the State Department. Central has partnered with HAYAS, the organization that helped many of our great-grandparents come to America to assist these refugees in their most sensitive first year here. Our Central members are helping them find an apartment, jobs, learn English, enroll 3 children ages 8, 15, and 17 in school, and navigate the complexities of obtaining health insurance. Instead of being consumed with themselves and their fears, these members chose to fulfill the mitzvah of welcoming the stranger and protecting the most vulnerable. I believe we have many, many miles to go before the crisis before us abates. As we travel into this new year, I'm urging us to lean into our tradition, our history, our values, our rituals, and religious practices. Let us gather together and care for each other and the stranger among us. When we choose to tap into the awesome within these foundational aspects of Judaism, we renew ourselves, we steel ourselves, we sustain ourselves for the long haul. Journalist Brett Stevens, one of our guest speakers this past year, in response to all that has happened, suggested we should strive to be 10% Jewier. With no disrespect to Mr. Stevens, I'd like to amend his charge to us with only this: we should increase the Jewish awe in our lives by 18%. Our synagogue will continue to partner with you in the awesome. Join us for a Shabbat service during a week when you're recognizing a specific blessing in your life, a birthday, an anniversary, perhaps a new job, or maybe retirement. Our weekly Saturday morning Mishkan service is one of Central's best kept secrets. May Mishkan be a secret no more. Make it your business to attend at least one awesome Saturday morning Mishkan service in this new year. Unlock the awe as we study the Torah, the Hebrew Bible, and the Talmud in our weekly classes. Our small groups have the superpower of making our large shul feel small. Find one for yourself or start your own. Be with us in December when renowned educator Tal Becker updates us on all that is happening in Israel. Whether or not you sing on key, and we do not judge here, right, Cantor? You can sing each month with this incredible cantor and Cantor Pearsall and our Shirim team, our singing club, in our stunning sanctuary. Teenagers, I see you out there. Join us at the end of this month for Midnight Run, where with kavod, with respect, we hand out food and clothes to New Yorkers in need. And teens, get your parents to volunteer with you at our breakfast program that provides a healthy meal to our hungry neighbors 3 days a week. If you're in your 20s and 30s, in just 3 weeks, experience with us the magic of a Simchat Torah dance party. This is just a taste of the awesome that we have to offer. Join us for as much as you can. And keep us up to date with the Jewish awesome happening in your life. Call and email the clergy. Tell your kids' religious school teachers or the staff in our main office what is going on with you. We want to know. We want to stand by you. And we want to be continued to be inspired by everything we are doing. We have a custom for when we finish reading a book of the Torah. We say, be strong, and together we will be strengthened. In Hebrew, chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Chazak means strength. Here's how the ritual works. Right after we read the last word from a book in the Torah, the rabbi chants these chazak words, and then the congregation repeats the words with gusto. Then the rabbi chants them again, followed by the congregation. Let's try it now. The words are on the screen above. Let's fill this hall with your voices. I'll go first, then you, then me, then you. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. I have always been struck and a bit amused and puzzled by this all. Why this cheering ritual? We're not a basketball team. We're not scoring touchdowns. We're reading the Torah. Why the call and aspiration to be strong? Then this year it dawned on me. When we finish reading a book of the Torah, when we come together to pray, when we learn together the wisdom within Judaism, when we protect the stranger, when we light Shabbat candles week after week, we're strengthened individually and together by these awesome acts, especially at times like these, days of fear and awe. It is worth shouting. It is worth celebrating about the awesome and the strength that comes from sacred community engaging in our tradition. We have found a way to strengthen ourselves throughout this past year. Let us strengthen us even more in the year ahead. Let us keep packing our sanctuary, our hallways, our classrooms. Repeat after me, chazak. Let us feel the power and the joy connected to the pure goodness, wisdom, and rituals within Judaism. Repeat after me, chazak. Let us embrace the awe in Judaism. Repeat after me, chazak. And let us continue to ask each other, how are you doing? And be strengthened by our ability to listen and support each other as we go forward into this new Jewish year. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Shana Tova.
Have come from near and far to raise our voice in song, and the more we join in the refrain, the more we feel strong. Chazak, Chazak, Benit Hazeh. There is a power in this place and time. It shapes the rest of our lives. For when we return each year, we find a truth we can't deny. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Be strong and let us celebrate our lives. Be strong and let us strengthen one another. Chazak, Chazak, Benit Hazeh. Chazak, Chazak, Benit Hazeh. Chazak, Chazak.